Hello everyone and God bless you. Today when I was reading the word, I came across Genesis 49. This is where I got actually. I was reading, I think starting from verse 39 and all the way forward. So 49 is the one before the last chapter, okay? Have I said chapter or verse? Yeah, chapter 49, okay? The one before the last chapter, if I'm not mistaken, chapter 50 is the last chapter in the book of Genesis. And this is what caught my attention. Like, I kind of heard a part of that chapter before. However, like the entire part, I don't remember the last time I focused on it or even read it. So this is what I noticed, and it's a Messianic prophecy. So it was Jacob, who became Israel afterwards, the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, and he was prophesying over each tribe, over each son of his. And he came across of Judah. As you know, that Jesus is the Lion of Judah. He came from the tribe of Judah. This is why it was even a prophecy that the symbol of the tribe of Judah has always been a lion, right? The lion, the king or the lion of the tribe of Judah is in the book of Revelations, by the way. So Jacob or Israel said, Judah, you are the one whom your brothers shall praise. And exactly, this is Jesus. This is what happened with Jesus, because Jesus is the Messiah. Every one of his brothers, his kins, his family, extended family, praised him because he's the Messiah. Your hand will be on the neck of your enemies. Just like King David also prophesied, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand, and I shall make your enemies your footstool. Your father's sons shall bow down to you. Judah, a lion's cub, with the prey, my son, you have gone high up the mountain. Now, he stopped, or he stooped down, he crouched like a lion, and like a lion who dares rouse him. Who dares rouse him? Who dares rouse the Messiah, Jesus? The scepter of royalty shall not depart from Judah. And it came to pass, meaning that first it became King David, by the way, who took the crown from Saul, if you remember, because Saul got disqualified because of his repetitive disobediences. And this is what makes someone forfeit his calling. One disobedience after the other, and unrepentant, meaning that he never repented, so he lost everything. And the crown came back to King David, who comes from the tribe of Judah. By the way, I believe this is what petrified Saul when he started losing, the crown. He felt that David would be next on the throne. Why? Because he knew of that prophecy. That prophecy was written in the book of Genesis 49, and they had the book of Genesis back then. They had, all of these writings of the patriarchs. Okay? So, and of course, by the way, they had the law of Moses. Okay? At the time of King David, they already had the law of Moses, because they had already left Egypt through the hand of Moses. Now, the scepter of royalty or of kingship shall not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until Shiloh, the Messiah, or the peaceful one, comes. And to him shall be the obedience of the peoples, and to Jesus shall be the obedience of the peoples, tying his foal to the strong vine. And by the way, Jesus is the vine in the New Testament. And his donkey's colt to the choice vine. Remember, like Jesus rode on a donkey. By the way, this was always also prophesied, I think, in Zechariah chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken. Behold, Jerusalem, your king is coming on a donkey. Sorry for the noise around. He washes his clothing in wine, because the grapevine produces abundantly. So he washes his clothing in wine. Why? Actually, he poured his blood and he washed. The stained garments represent sin. So he who was not sin became sin so that we can become righteous, right? So he poured his own blood, became the ultimate sacrifice, and washed the sins of the world. Why? Because these sins got stuck on his garment, because he carried our sins upon his shoulders. He carried the sins of the world, the entire world, upon his shoulder. And his robes in the blood of grapes. I think that's in the book of Isaiah 63, 1-3, yeah, and Zechariah 9:9. Why? Because he's treading the grapes. This is, by the way, the second part here is about the judgment of the world, okay? Treading the winepress. This is what it represents. Also in Revelation 19:11-16. His eyes are darker and sparkler more than wine, and his teeth whiter than milk. So this is the prophetic chapter in the book of Genesis about the Messiah. For people to say like, like Jesus is not the Son of God and he's not the Messiah, and all of the prophecies, all of the Old Testament was pointing to Jesus through Moses, like in one of the books, in the book of Acts, like Peter, how did he convince the Jews that Jesus was the Messiah? Because he pointed to Moses when he said, God will raise a prophet just like me to be your shepherd.